Okay, Hare Krishna. So we'll begin with our prayers. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, so welcome everyone. We are discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 4. We are discussing chapter 4 today. So, chapter 3 today. So far we have discussed how Maitreya Muni, he continues the conversation. He continues the description of the dynasty of Swayambhuva Manu. And in third canto, in the end, he described the dynasty of the family of Devahuti. And then he continued to describe the other uh, daughters of Swayambhuva Manu, Prasuti, Akuti, Devahuti. And then he described that one of the daughters of Prasuti, Sati, she didn't have any child. And because there was a dissension between Daksha and Shiva. And because of that, Sati left her body. So that created a doubt in the mind of Vidurji. So how can there be a dissension between Daksha and Shiva? Daksha is Duhitra Vatsala. He is affectionate to his daughter, and Lord Shiva is Charachara Guru. He is Shilvatam Shrestha. He is the Guru of everyone. He is gentle, best among the gentle. So then he describes the whole story, how there was a yajna and Shivji didn't get up, and as a result, Daksha became very angry, and then he cursed Shiva. He criticized Shiva, and then as a result, Nandi cursed the followers of Nandi cursed Daksha. He cursed the followers of Daksha, that is all the Brahmanas. And then Bhrigu Muni cursed all the followers of the Lord Shiva. So that's how the chapter ended. And Lord Shiva, without saying anything, he left. So now in the third chapter, which is entitled The Talks Between Lord Shiva and Sati, Maitreya continues that the tension between the father-in-law and son-in-law went on for a considerably long period. So, Srila Prabhupada writes that Vidura questioned the sage Maitreya that what was the cause of misunderstanding. Another question was why that misunderstanding led to Sati giving up her body. So, the chief reason why Sati gave her body is that Lord Shiva was not invited by Daksha when he started another sacrifice. And Prabhupada writes generally in the yajnas, all the devatas are invited. And unless all the devatas are present, the sacrifice is not complete. But here, because there was a tension between Daksha and Shiva, so Daksha didn't invite Lord Shiva. And the word used is Dhriyamanayoh. So he says Dhriyamanayo means they didn't beg pardon from each other. किसी ने माफी नहीं मांगी और झगड़ा, cold war was going on. So then, very interestingly, after this, what happened? Brahma appointed Daksha as the chief of Prajapatis. So that is very interesting. So just some time back, Daksha, he insulted Lord Shiva. His behavior was not good, but still, Brahmaji appointed him as the chief Prajapati. And because of that, he became very puffed up. So that is very, very interesting thing. Somebody may ask, "Arey, kyun? Usko hi kyun banaya? He was so proud, he was so envious." So institution, because this world needs to be, managed properly, this universe. So Daksha was a powerful, wonderful manager, expert manager. Even though his behavior was not good, sometimes it may happen. Many times it happens. Even if the manager is not in good terms in his behavior, still, because he is expert in management, क्या करें? Institution चलाना है. So that's how it is very, very important. Daksha was doing wonderful in his services. So institutional success, he was wonderful. He was running the institution, he was running this world nicely. He is doing his service of creation and filling the entire world with population. But personal success, that he failed. So as a devotee in Krishna consciousness in ISKCON, we have two responsibilities: institutional success and personal success. In due course of our services, we may do our services nicely. But if somebody else, some devotees get offended, then we will have to suffer. That time we cannot say, "मैं तो सेवा कर रहा था." So we have to be really careful. It is like a very, very sensitive thing. So because Brahmaji appointed him as the chief, he became very proud. Prabhupada writes, when a man becomes too proud of his material possessions, he can perform any disastrous act. And therefore, Daksha acted out of pride. It comes in the 6th canto also. When Brihaspati enters the assembly of Indra, he didn't get up. Why? Indra's Tribhuvana Aishwarya Madunlanghita Satpathai. He had the wealth of all the three worlds. Mad Unlanghit, because of the intoxication, he transgressed the etiquettes. And on top of that, he was surrounded by people who were glorifying him. Indra is not an ordinary personality. हम लोग इन भागवतम में इंद्रा का ऐसा ये ऐसा है ये वैसा ऐसा नहीं है. He is a very very powerful. मतलब वो आते हैं तो entire assembly gets up, all the big personalities. In some scriptures, Indra is glorified as the supreme. So he's not an ordinary person. So Indra is surrounded by people who are glorifying him. Parishritai, stuyamano, nishevyamano, ये सब words आते हैं उसमें. So naturally, anybody will get proud. Anybody will think, I am something big. And that's the same thing happened with Nalakuvar Manigriv. They were associates of Lord Shiva. Okay, कितना temperature पे? Put it on 26. So they were associates of Lord Shiva. रुद्रस्य अनुचरो भूत्वा सुदृप्तौ धनदात्मजो कैलाशोपवने रम्ये मंदाकिन्यो मदोत्कटौ वारुणीं मदिरां पीत्वा मदा घूर्णितलोचनौ श्रीजनैरनुगायद्भिर्चेरतु पुष्पिते वने. ऐसा डिस्क्रिप्शन आता है. रुद्र अनुचर हैं, कुबेर के बेटे हैं, धनदात्मज, धनद मीन्स कुबेर. So they were there intoxicated, roaming around in Mandakini Ganga, enjoying. So that's how Daksha was. He became puffed up. And then he started another sacrifice known as Vajpaya. And then because he was very, very confident of his support by Brahmaji, he started another sacrifice, Brihaspati Sava. And this Daksha Yagya is a very, very, wonderful term. So in ISKCON, if somebody says that meeting was ended up in Daksha Yagya, मतलब क्या हो गया? सब लोग एक दूसरे को झगड़ा करके चले गए, So that's what happened in Daksha Yagya. So Daksha, he started another sacrifice. Prabhupada writes, all the sacrifices are intended to please Lord Vishnu. And Vishnu means his devotees also. So Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, they are all devotees of Lord Krishna. So they are also they should be respected. But Daksha, he didn't respect Lord Shiva. Even Lord Brahma, he insulted. ये ब्रह्मा जी की वजह से मैंने शादी कराई, परमेष्टि ना, ये बड़े लोग ने बोला इसलिए, what can I do? So Prabhupada writes there, Mad Bhakta Puja Bhyadhika. Krishna says, if you want to worship me, first worship my devotees. So Daksha, he was very proud. He didn't invite Lord Shiva. And then all the big people, who is who of the universe, were invited. All the Brahmarshi, Devarshi, Devatas, Yakshas, Gandharva, Upadevas, Devas, everybody was invited. And everybody along with their wives, who were beautifully ornamented, decorated, they were coming. And this was the cause of agitation of Sati. अपने पत्नियां देखो, everybody is dressed nicely. So Prabhupada writes, in any auspicious ceremony, it is auspicious for a married women to decorate. These are auspicious signs. And yeah, so that's why she became very disturbed. Everybody has dressed themselves nicely and they are going, and we are not going. What is this? So she's seeing all the heavenly ladies with their husbands flying in airplanes, and she's seeing everything. But that is natural. क्या होगा? Everybody is going, अरे पति देव ऐसे ही बैठे हैं. And then the conversation is amazing. मतलब ऐसा पति पत्नी में क्या झगड़ा कैसे होता है? What all conversations and what all arguments she is giving, and then Shiva is trying to convince her. Amazing. Prabhupada writes in the purport. So the word used is Sati Dakshayani Devi. Dakshayani means she is identifying herself as daughter of Daksha. My father has started the sacrifice. I also have to go. And when she saw all the beautiful wives with all the ornaments and decorations, they are going in airplanes, she became really disturbed, in great anxiety. Prabhupada writes, it appears that residence of Shiva was not on this planet. That's why Sati could see all the airplanes coming to this planet. So that's how it was. And then Prabhupada writes, every woman was accompanied by a husband. They looked so beautiful. So Dakshayani was impelled to dress similarly and go with her husband. That is a natural inclination of a woman. So of course, everybody keeps few dresses for special occasions. So उनके पास भी सब लोग अपना अपना अच्छा ड्रेस पहन के जा रहे हैं. मतलब एज ब्रह्मचारी हम लोग भी, हाँ भाई ये थोड़ा सा अच्छा धोती कुर्ता पहन, ये इधर जाना है तो थोड़ा अच्छा रखना चाहिए, नहीं तो इधर तो कुछ भी पहना चलेगा. कोई भी शेड, ऊपर धोती अलग और कुर्ता अलग और अलग शेड का शॉल चलेगा, कुछ भी चलेगा. सो अभी देवताओं की पत्नियों के पास कितना रहेगा वैरायटी. So Sati, she was very disturbed seeing all that. And then she goes and tells her, "जी सुनते हो?" ऐसा नहीं बोली होगी. So she says, she begins, she says, she's indirectly telling, "अरे your father-in-law has started a sacrifice." मतलब ऐसा प्रेम से. Then if you desire, we may go. आपको अगर लगे तो हम भी जा सकते हैं. That's she starts slowly. धीरे में मान गया तो अच्छा है. So Prabhupada writes, she could not express her willingness directly. So therefore she told in an indirect way, very politely. And then she says, all my sisters and their in-laws, their husbands, they have gone with their relatives. So I also want to decorate myself by ornaments given to me by my father. क्योंकि बोलते आपने तो दिया नहीं कभी मेरे कुछ. Naturally it was the case. Lord Shiva, and she tells later. So Shiva may ask, what is the purpose of you going? You and I, why we should go? So she says, all the other ladies, they'll go. They are going with their husbands. They'll be worshipped there along with their husband. I also want to go with my husband. And I'll also get worship. I'll also get honors there. So Prabhupada writes wonderful things about women's nature. It is मैं कुछ नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, ये प्रभुपाद का लाइंस पढ़ रहा हूँ यहाँ पे. मैं उसमें कुछ भी कमेंट्री नहीं देने वाला हूँ. It is woman's nature to decorate herself with ornaments and nice dresses and accompany her husband to social functions, meet friends and relatives, and enjoy life in that way. That is not unusual. So that's what Prabhupada writes. So Prabhupada in the purport, he focuses on the word tapasya. When it comes material enjoyment, Prabhupada अभी ये मौका मिला है, अभी पूरा Prabhupada purport एकदम तपस्या पे ही लिखते हैं. Human form of life is not meant for material enjoyment, and then मतलब सब कुछ लिख देते हैं उसमें. So we'll not go into the detail of that. So she says, she would also like to decorate herself with ornaments because you are callous. You don't have any concern about material functions. आप तो क्या आत्माराम है. She tells like that in future. Prabhupada writes amazing things. It was fortunate for Sati that Lord Shiva did not take ornaments from his wife and spend them for ganja. Prabhupada is amazing. Because he says, Prabhupada writes, because those who imitate Lord Shiva in smoking ganja exploit everything from household affairs. They take away all the wife's property and spend on smoking. So Prabhupada knows that. So it happens. So Prabhupada writes, शिव जी ने ये खर्चा करके गांजा नहीं पिया भाई. So Prabhupada is very funny sometimes in his purports. Prabhupada is seriously writing these purports because he knows क्या होता है, in general public. So Shiva, hearing this, he may ask, do you desire gifts? Why do you want to go there? You want gifts? She says, no, I want to see my mother. I want to see my sisters. कितने सालों से नहीं गई हूँ, because considerably long time this Cold War was going on. तो नहीं गई सती बेचारी अभी इतने सालों से. So naturally उनको भी करेगा ना मन, अभी हम थोड़ा जाके मिलते हैं. It is a good occasion to go and meet my sister, my mother, because her heart is full of affection for me. I want to meet my sisters and my mother. So please go. You should go. And also I want to see the great sacrifice which my father is starting. I have that desire. So Prabhupada writes, she had not gone for a while, so therefore she was anxious. And Prabhupada again writes, as it is natural for a woman, she wanted to dress equally to her other sisters and be accompanied by her husband. So she did not want to go alone. So Prabhupada लिखते हैं, अगर if somebody is going, आप लोगों को ज़्यादा experience. If you want to go to some event or some festival or some occasion, तो पति बोलेंगे जाओ आप तुम जाके आओ, तो कैसा लगेगा? ऐसा कैसे? साथ में आना पड़ेगा ना, तभी तो अच्छा लगेगा. That's why I'll be seen with my husband, and they want you should also dress nicely. ऐसा नहीं, तो बाद में मेरे friend क्या बोलेंगे, क्या पहन के आया तुम्हारे पति, So she's not telling that you dress also nicely because मालूम dress भी वैसा ही, but she's saying at least come with me. So then अभी अच्छा argument देती है सती, first class. So Shiva, he may say that it is astonishing that you have such bodily attachments. Are you are such a great lady. You're not common personality. How can you have such bodily attachment like common people? तो सती बोलती है, देखिए आप तो आत्माराम, मैं तो देहात में बुद्धि में पड़ी हुई स्त्री हूँ. She is very clearly telling, I am a fallen, I am a common lady. I don't have this understanding as you. You know that this world is full of illusory things. I am a common lady. I am a poor woman. So therefore, I want to see my birthplace. And प्रभुपाद अभी बर्थ प्लेस आया तो प्रभुपाद अच्छा पूरा परपोट धो दिए उसमें, देहात्म बुद्धि और यस्यात्म बुद्धि कुणपे त्रिधातुके स्वधि कलत्रादिषु भौम इज्जधि यत् तीर्थ बुद्धि सलिले न करेचित जनेषु अभिज्ञेषु सएव गोखर. So Prabhupada, writes in the purport, a person who identifies with his birthplace, his mentality is like that of a cow and an ass. So Prabhupada writes that in purport. So she is saying, I have affection for my family. You are Atmaram, you are Aja, you are unborn. So you have no attraction. for this glorious manifestation. I am a small, insignificant lady. So I have attraction for everything. So please, you should come with me. And Prabhupada writes, Sati might have heard all this many times from her husband. शिवजी अभी इतने बड़े डिवोटी हैं तो सुनाए होंगे ना. Of course, Sati is also a great lady. But still, this is all pastime going on. But because she was a woman, she still hankered after some material objects. And then Prabhupada writes about dangers of association with womenizers and opposite gender. So then Sati, she says, I am not the only one in this condition. All the other ladies are going. I also want to go. मैं अकेली थोड़ी ना जाना चाहती हूँ. सब लोग जा रहे हैं भाई. तो मुझे भी जाने दीजिए. And I know you completely. आप तो जाएंगे नहीं. आपको तो इच्छा है नहीं. So please let's go for my sake. That is the first argument she gives. Personal happiness. Then she says, you are Neelakantha. अरे you drank poison for the welfare of others. अपनी पत्नी के लिए इतना नहीं कर सकते आप. और दूसरों के लिए आप हलाल विष पी रहे हैं. And I am just telling to accompany me. Can't you do that? So she says, everybody is going in wonderful airplanes and along with their husbands. Please, you also come with me. Prabhupada writes, Sati wanted to impress upon her husband that even those who are not related to her father, they are going. सब देवता जा रहे हैं, उनकी पत्नियां जा रही हैं, अभी हम तो उनके रिलेटिव्स हैं. We should also go. And you drank such a great amount of poison. अब मैं तो साथ में चलने के लिए बोल रही हूँ खाली. इसमें क्या प्रॉब्लम है? And then third argument she gives. She says that, how can a daughter remain undisturbed when everybody in the family is going for a festival? बताइए. How can a daughter remain peaceful? Festival is happening in the father's house और आप बोलेंगे नहीं जाना है. ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है? And then she says, even if no invitation, what is the problem in going to the house of father? Invitation लगता है क्या पिताजी के यहाँ जाने के लिए? No. Well, logically, she says, there is no harm if one goes to house of one's friend, husband, spiritual master, father without invitation. चलो ना, नहीं आया invitation, क्या problem है? We'll go. Shiva says, so because Shiva might say that, अरे invitation तो आया नहीं, how can we go? She says, अरे invitation की जरूरत पड़ती है क्या? It is a family business है ना? We'll go. So, that's how she's building up. पहले mental, personal happiness, then social happiness, then dharma hai baba. So all these wonderful arguments are happening between husband and wife. Radhanath Maharaj, he was once telling, nahi, Vishnu Prabhu was telling it. I think last year ka appearance festival tha. The Vishnu Prabhu was speaking. So he was telling that in the initial days he was staying in temple. तो महाराज का रूम के पीछे वाला ही रूम बीच में एकदम एक कार्डबोर्ड का सेपरेशन. and then you are saying, and sometimes Prabhuji and Mataji would fight, shouting, and then they would hear. So Maharaj udhar hai, sun rahe hain sab. And then again they would be silent, again they would fight something again. And Maharaj later told him, hearing your fights many times, I confirmed my sannyas vows. So ये झगड़ा चल रहा है पति पत्नी में. And then Satish says, even if you do not want to go, you have accepted me as Ardhangini. अरे आपने तो वो रूप भी दिखाया ना, वो कौन सा वो अर्धनारीश्वर. अभी इतना you have shown you are a devata, you are not an ordinary person. You have shown this also. अभी मैं तो खाली चलने के लिए बोल रही हूँ अभी. Please come with me. You are showing kindness to everyone. You are Bhutnath, you are Ashutosh. You come with me also, na? So that's how she is pleading. Now, Shivaji tells strong reasons. So Shiva, he smiled. Although internally, he remembered the harsh words which Daksha had spoken. But still externally, he smiled. And Prabhupada writes, so Lord Shiva, although he is such a great personality, still he was affected by the harsh speech. Although Vidya Vinay Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Shuvapake Cha Pandita Samadarshinaha Samadarshi, but still he gets affected. Prabhupada writes a question may be raised why a liberated personality like Lord Shiva was so unhappy. Why it is the case? So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes that although he is Atmaram, but because he is in charge of mode of ignorance, he also sometimes get affected by the pleasure and pains. So that is the mentality. But Krishna, so somebody may say, Krishna also gets affected. Sometimes he also laments, sometimes he also shows some emotions. So what is the difference? Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes that Krishna was playing in so many ways, he caused distress to the gopis, but such dealings were full of transcendental bliss. That's the difference between the material pain and spiritual pain, material emotions and spiritual emotions. So, इतना सब कुछ बोलने के बाद Lord Shiva, he is dharma vatsal. So, Sati gave 3 reasons: personal happiness, social happiness, and dharma. So, Lord Shiva starts with dharma, and he gives why one should not go to a house, even to her own father, relative. He says, it is true that one can go to a friend's house uninvited, provided he does not find fault with the guest and does not become angry towards him. Then you can go. Sati might say, Arey, why my father will find faults? He is very intelligent. He has wisdom. Why he'll find fault? He is not a fool. So Daksha was very learned actually. He was very learned, wealthy, prestige, aristocratic. So naturally, इतना सब पढ़ के आए हैं तो why he'll find faults with somebody? This is a very, very wonderful verse which Lord Shiva is speaking. Vidya tapo vitta vapo vayo kulai satam gunai sadbhira sattametara smritau hatayam bhritamana durdrisha स्तब्धान पश्यन्ति हि धाम भूयसाम्. So now he is saying these 6 qualities, satam gune shad, these 6 qualities of knowledge, austerity, wealth, youthful, kulai, heritage, and beauty. So these are the qualities of saintly people. These are the 6 saintly qualities. But asattam, if these qualities are manifesting in people who are not good, what will happen? Itarai, they will give opposite result. What will happen? Smritau hatayam, they lose all their good sense. Bhrita mana durdrisha, they'll be blinded by pride. And you know what will be the result of all that? Stabdha, they'll be proud. Na pashyanti, they will not see dham bhuyasam, the glories of great personalities. So all these are good qualities. Vidya, tapa, vitta, vapu, vaya, kul. But if a person is proud of these things, that person will not be able to see the good qualities of saintly people. Their power of discrimination will be destroyed by these good qualities because of the pride. So that is what happens. Prabhupada writes, though milk is sweet, when it enters the serpent's mouth, it becomes poisonous. In the 8th canto also, Vamanadev, he is telling, Janma karma vayo rupa vidya aishwarya dhanadibhi yadi yasya na bhavet stambha tatraya mad anugrahat. He says, if somebody has good birth, janma, good activities, karma, vaya, youthful body, beautiful body, janma karma vayo rupa vidya, very knowledgeable, wealthy, aishwarya, dhan, yadi yasya na bhavet stambha, if he is not proud, even after all these things, Madanugrahat. You should understand that person has received my mercy. Without mercy of the Lord, nobody can remain humble after getting all these things. And devotees, they show all these qualities. Even if somebody is very, very wealthy, beautiful, or scholarly, or whatever. If somebody has received the mercy of the Lord, they can remain humble consistently. One can be humble for some time in front of others. In devotee community, being humble is also looked as, "Arey, kitne humble hai Prabhuji," That is also a matter of pride. उसमें भी pride होता है, humility में भी pride हो जाएगा, मैं humble हूँ मालूम है. So Prabhupada writes about that. If it is touched by an envious serpent, it becomes poisonous. If serpent has jewel on its head, still it is fearful. And then Prabhupada writes, sometimes, therefore, detrimental for a person advancing in spiritual consciousness to possess material assets. Which is like, what is this called? Krishna can be approached only by people who are materially impoverished. क्या बोलते हैं इसको इंग्लिश में, संस्कृत में क्या वर्ड है उसके लिए? मटीरियल अकिंचन गोचर, त्वाम अकिंचन गोचर. पंक्ति महाराज is saying, जन्म ईश्वरे श्रुत श्रीभि रेदमान मदपुमान नैवारत्य भिधातुम वै त्वाम अकिंचन गोचर. So it means that does not mean one has to become beggar to become a devotee. That means one should not have possessive mentality. One may be wealthy, but possessive mentality should not be there. It is mine. Now it belongs to Krishna. I am using it in Krishna's service. It is under my care. So then Shiva, he continues that even a father of this nature should be rejected. Therefore, one should not go thinking that they are relatives. If one goes, one should go thinking of them as enemies. Chakravarti Thakur writes this. Sati mein se, are, even a low-minded person has affection for their children. My father is such a great personality. Why he will insult me? Shiva, Lord Shiva continues. One should not go to anyone's house, even if he is a relative of or a friend, if his mind is disturbed. And he looks upon the guest with raised eyebrows. क्यों आ गया इधर? So Prabhupada writes, however low a person is, he is never unkind to his children, wife, and nearest kin. Even a tiger is kind to its cubs. But, Prabhupada writes, since Sati was a daughter of Daksha, however cruel and contaminated he might be, he would have received her nicely. But the word used is anavasthita. Anavasthita means such a person whose mind is disturbed, he can never be trusted. What he'll do, nobody can say. Because some tigers are kind to their cubs, but the mother, she doesn't allow the father to come near the child. Sometimes tigers eat their cubs. Therefore, the mother lioness doesn't allow the lion to come near. It happens, So the cat also eats the kitten many times, So the mother kitten doesn't allow mother cat and crocodile, So that's how, he says such friends are worse than enemies. So please don't trust a person if his mind is disturbed. He can behave in any way. And then he says that if one is hurt by arrows of an enemy, that wound will heal. But if somebody is hurt by the harsh words of the near and dear ones, they'll continue to, suffer day and night. They'll never be able to forget the harsh words. So that is how. Even in the case of Vidurji, we know that when Duryodhan spoke such harsh words, Saitam Atiulban Karna Bhanai Bharatu Pura Marmasu Taditopi. He was really pained. The words were like sharp arrows, burning arrows entering the ears. And Marmasu Taditopi, all the sensitive points were pained. Marmasu. So therefore he was also disturbed. So careless wounds Careless words can cause cureless wounds. So therefore he's saying one should not go to such people, because he'll speak all bad words and you will not be able to tolerate it. So that's how. So Sati, she says, you must have some issues with my father. इसीलिए ऐसा बोल रहा है. क्या बिगड़ा मेरे पिताजी ने आपका? I'll go alone. You don't have to worry. I'll go. So Lord Shiva says, अरे it is clear that you are the pet. मतलब सबसे youngest child है ना. So I know that you are the pet, but you will not be honored because you are connected to me. Because you are my wife, you will not be honored, and therefore you will be sorry that you are connected to me. So Lord Shiva is telling like that. So then Sati says, I think you hate my father. मतलब आप क्या रीजन है ऐसा? Why you are so strong? You must have some hostile mentality towards my father. That's a typical way of reacting when somebody doesn't agree to what you propose. इतने देर से I'm trying to convince and you are not listening. I think you have some grudges against my father. Lord Shiva tells. He actually swears. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says, I swear, I am not envious. Daksha is envious and hates me. I have no enviousness. I am not inimical towards Daksha. Daksha is envious because he is thinking I am in the position of the controllers, one of the controller of the universe, and therefore he hates me. And then he says, I have no hatred towards your father, and he takes a oath. सच में वचन लेता हूं मैं, Lord Shiva is telling. And then he speaks something wonderful. He says, people like me, they have Lord as witness of their intelligence. If you want to check, if you don't believe me, you sit in meditation, you go inside, ask the Paramatma in your heart. That's how you can convince. That's how you can, get some assurance. So I have no, intentions of criticizing your father. So one time Govinda Mataji, she asked Prabhupada, is super soul sitting or standing in the heart? तो कैसे हैं? तो बैठे रहते हैं कि खड़े हैं? So Prabhupada said, you sit and meditate and you go inside and you see. So she got confused. Abhi kya hai ye? So then Prabhupada, mercifully, he actually stood up, and the famous picture of Paramatma on the lotus flower standing, Lord Vishnu. Prabhupada posed him in that picture, how Lord is standing in the heart as Paramatma. He said Lord is standing because he is careful, watching all the activities of the living entity and ready to help. So Prabhupada writes that was the real reason of enmity between Shiva and Daksha. Because Shivji was in the higher position, incarnation, he was a Guna avatar. And Daksha was thinking, how can he be better than me? He is my son-in-law. So then, he says, and Prabhupada writes, when one offers respects to body, it is not to the material body, but due to the presence of the Lord. When we say namaste, namaste ka matlab kya hota hai?
Namaste, the one sitting inside you.
Namaha te, te means that person who is inside you. I'm offering my respects to that person, not to you. So Daksha was thinking, I'm head of the Prajapati. I deserve this respect. That is a mentality which can come. As a devotee grows in Krishna consciousness, we are promoted to some position. We are known in the devotee community as a senior devotee. We may start thinking this like this as Daksha. I should get first seat. I should get first आरती. आरती सबसे पहले मुझे दिखाना चाहिए. I should recite the प्रेम धुनी. यहाँ पे महाराज ने सब कुछ एकदम ऐसा कुछ स्कोप ही नहीं छोड़ा है. In other temples when you go, वो जो आरती कर लेके जाता है उसको पहले ढूंढना पड़ता है किधर खड़े हैं सबसे बड़े वाले डिवोटी. पहला डिवोटी आगे है, फिर पीछे दूसरे डिवोटी हैं. So Maharaj said, whoever is standing in front, उसको दिखाओ पहले, उधर से continues. If proper disciple comes, then you give preference. So that is how, here Maharaj has trained us very, very nicely. Because till the time we are not on the level of soul, this mentality of hankering mentality will keep on coming. Desire for name, fame, prestige. So we have to be really careful. So the more we
temples also.
That is their leaders. They have their way of thinking. कि नहीं भाई पहले सीनियर्स को मिलना चाहिए. So that is there. So we have to more, try to go inside. Because Krishna says, Yuvanta Sukha Antararama Stathantar Jyotireva Sayogi Brahma Nirvanam Shina Kalmasha, something like that he says. So he says, when a devotee starts going inside and tries to seek happiness of devotional life, Antah Sukha, Antah Arama, Tathantar Jyotireva, then he will become Brahma Bhutodi Gacchati. Sayogi Brahma Nirvanam Brahma Bhutodi Gacchati. So the more we are advancing in years, we have to try to go inside and try to connect to Krishna. Otherwise, this nature of conditioned soul is that wants material things. So that is material mentality. So we have to try to go deep. Because if you are on the surface, it is like Bhakti Rasamre Sindhu. But on the surface of ocean, you get only fishes. All this name, fame, prestige of this world, they are, Jadera Pratishtha. क्या बोलते हैं? शुकरेरा विष्ठा. फिर भी हम बोलते हैं थोड़ा चलेगा नहीं. थोड़ा क्या प्रॉब्लम है? थोड़ा चलेगा, Other place, Raghunath Das Goswami says that, desire for pride is like desiring to take bath in donkey's urine. फिर भी हम लोग बोलते हैं थोड़ा चलेगा. That's how abominable it is. मतलब माधवेंद्रपुरी क्या है बोल रहे हैं? प्रतिष्ठार भय पूरी गेला पलाइया, कृष्ण प्रेम में प्रतिष्ठा चले संगे गड़ाइया. मतलब he became fearful of fame. किसी को भय होता है, इधर उल्टा भय होता है, कोई मेरे को भाव ही नहीं दे रहा है, प्रतिष्ठार भय पूरी गेला पलाइया. He ran away out of fear of fame. सब लोग मेरे को आके प्रणाम करेंगे. People will come to know that I am such a great devotee. So that's how we have to be really careful. So Sati, she says, ओके ठीक है, मान लिया, चलो आपको मेरे पिताजी से कोई भी द्वेष नहीं है. अरे खड़े हो जाते तो क्या प्रॉब्लम होता था? अरे यू शुड हैव जस्ट मतलब उठ जाते हम्बली, बस हाथ जोड़ने में क्या प्रॉब्लम? एनीवेज यू आर सन इन लॉ, राइट? तो क्या प्रॉब्लम था? So then Lord Shiva says, oh my dear young wife, certainly when friends and relatives they meet and greet each other by standing up, they welcome each other. But a person who is on a transcendental platform, they offer respects to the super soul when they stand and say namaste. I was already doing that inside. Now he is saying, अब इतना सब होने के बाद, इतने हजारों साल के बाद बता रहे मैं क्यों खड़ा नहीं हूं उधर. Now he is saying, I was in samadhi, I was in meditation, So Chakravarti Thakur writes, I was absorbed in the lotus feet of the Lord when Daksha arrived. Even if I did not glance at Daksha, by my respect for the Lord, Daksha was respected. तो भाई प्रणाम किसको करते हैं? भगवान को ही करते हैं. I was already doing that. So Daksha was so ignorant, he became angry without any reason. I was fulfilling the purpose of offering pranam. Anyways, we don't offer pranam to the body. We offer pranam to the super soul. तो मैं कर ही रहा था. I was in samadhi at that time. अभी सती बोलती है, क्या बोलती है मालूम है? She says, how could you be in samadhi at that time only? उसी समय आपको समाधि में जाना था क्या? बताओ. मतलब classic Chakravarti Thakur, क्या classic ऐसा है, reading in between. That is the revelation these acharyas they get. मतलब विश्वनाथ चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर गिव सच वंडरफुल इनसाइट्स कि ये आगे वाला स्टेटमेंट शिव जी क्यों बोल रहे हैं बताइए. मतलब विश्वनाथ चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर से सती इज थिंकिंग हाउ कुड यू बी इन समाधि एट दैट टाइम. वही टाइम मिला आपको समाधि में जाने के लिए. शिव जी भी अमेजिंग, ही स्पीक्स वंडरफुल थिंग. He says, that cannot be asked. Samadhi on the Lord is not dependent on me. When Lord will appear in my heart, I cannot decide, right? I cannot tell the Lord, abhi mere man mein aiye. And then he speaks this verse. Prabhupada quotes this verse many times. Sattvam vishuddham vasudeva shabditam yadiyate tatra puman pavritah सत्वे च तस्मिन् भगवान् वासुदेवो यथोक्षजो मे नमसा विधीयते. So this is a very, very wonderful verse. Prabhupada gives elaborate purport on this. So technical meaning of this verse, Prabhupada writes meaning, I am always engaged in offering obeisances to Lord Vasudev in pure Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is always pure consciousness, in which Supreme Personality is revealed without any coverings. So this is a very, very important technical verse. Every word is very important. So he says, Sattvam Vishuddham, Vishuddha Sattva, pure consciousness is called as Vasudeva, not Vasudev. Vasudeva Sat Shabditam. The pure consciousness or Antahakaran. Antahakaran means, Antahakaran is made up of four things: mind, intelligence, ego, and chitta, consciousness. So these the four combines together to form Antahakaran. So he says the pure Antahakaran is called Vasudeva. And because Yad Iyate, in this pure consciousness, that Supreme Lord appears. Sattve cha tasmin Bhagavan Vasudevo. And therefore, that Supreme Lord who is pure, in that Sattva, in Sat Antahakarana, which is pure, that Lord appears. And what was I doing? I was offering my respects to that Adhokshajo me Namasa. So Chakravarti Thakur writes a very, very important elaborate purport on this verse. So Vasudev is the state of consciousness in which Krishna can appear in our heart. Krishna cannot appear anywhere, right? Heart has to be pure. Consciousness has to be pure. So just like, there is a verse which comes in the 10th canto, how Krishna appeared in the mind of Vasudev, and then he transferred himself to mind of Devaki. Tato jagan mangalam achyutamsham samasitam shura sutena devi dadhara sarvatmakam apna bhutam akashtha yathanandakaram manastah. So that's what Shukadeva Goswami is saying, that in the mind of Devaki, Lord appeared because she was completely pure. Mangalam achyutamsham samahitam surastena devi. So Krishna can come only when there is Vasudeva Sattva, Shuddha Sattva. So Chakravarti Thakur writes, spiritual Antahakaran is called as Vasudeva. Spiritual Antahakaran is Vishuddha Sattva, that is Vasudeva. And he says, another meaning is that the spiritual state composed of the actions of Chit Shakti is the producer of Lord's appearance. When the consciousness is pure, then the Lord can appear. So because Lord, he appears there without any covering. Maya Javanika Channam. The world cannot see the Lord because they are covered by Maya. The Lord appears there without any covering. So he appears in, and that Lord who appears without covering is called as Vasudev. Because he appears in Vasudev, He is called as Vasudeva. So Vasudev शब्द कहाँ से आया? So Lord dwells there. उसमें word that from there the word comes vasati. Vasati, common word vasati, जहाँ पे रहते हैं, विराजमान, vasati. So therefore antahkaran is called as Vasu. And because it is completely spiritual, it is called Deva. So you combine it, it becomes Vasudeva. So the pure consciousness is Vasudeva. And when the Lord appears in that consciousness, it is called as Vasudeva. Vasudeva Shabditam. Vasudeva Shabditam. So therefore, he tells, Lord is served by the mind, and at that time I was serving the Lord. And because of my uninterrupted service to the Lord, I did not have external consciousness. Tell me what was the fault on my part. बताओ मेरी क्या गलती? So he is really trying to convince कि भाई मेरी कोई गलती नहीं है. You know, you cannot demand कि Lord should appear in my heart and whenever I demand. No, that is Lord's prerogative. And then he continues, therefore, you should not go to see your father because he is envious and he and his followers are envious of me and he has insulted me although I was innocent. So Shiva says, you will obey me if you are an obedient wife. Not only is he your father, but he's also nourished you. Another meaning is, the word used is dehakrit. So one meaning of dehakrit is, okay, he has nourished your body. But another meaning Chakravarti Thakur gives, dehakrit means even cuts the body. So if you don't listen to me, and if you go in spite of my instruction, if you decide to go, future will not be good for you. You will be insulted, and that insult will be equal to death. That's what Krishna tells to Arjun. Akirti chapi bhutani kathayishyanti te vyam sambhavitasya chakirti maranadatirichyate. A person who is glorified, who is famous, for him insult is worse than death. So Lord Shiva is telling, don't go, you'll be insulted and you will invite death. So that's how the chapter ends here. Hare Krishna. So any questions anybody has?
Daksha used to live on planet or like on heaven, or I think this all might have happened in heaven only.
No.
Yeah.
Daksha to Bhumandal, na? Yeah. Because Swayambhu Manu he's in charge of this Bhumandal. So Bhumandal matlab entire, not just Bharatvarsha, entire Bhumandal. All the 7 islands of Jambu Dvipa and all the, various all the 7 islands of Bhumandal and the 9 Varshas of Jambu Dvipa, sab mila ke Bhumandal, and he was ruling everything. So Daksha was there. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. In that
yes.
first sacrifice that last week you told about, in that Mother Sati had not accompanied Lord Shiva.
Where?
In that first episode when this...
First, she was there, na? She was there. First sacrifice, she was there. So that's why.
But still Lord Shiva explains everything.
Because now he is telling why he didn't get up, right? तो वो तो उनको नहीं पता चला होगा ना, because one can see the externals. अभी अंदर, what was the reason why Shiva didn't get up? So that was nobody knew. So therefore he is explaining everything to Sati.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Prabhupada ki jai, Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.